Reddit by Reddit recap. What fact about history will never be taught in school? First vibrating toy was diesel powered. BRRRTTRRTTRTTRTT. What's that noise? Oh. That. Nothing. Just my wife's treatment for hysteria. Is she ducking an A10? Merkin is a replacement wig for pubic hairs prostitutes used to use after they shaved fizz due to pubic lice. Merkins are regularly used in cinema. For some reason it's more acceptable to show fake pubic hair than the real deal. Probably the actress does not want to go full frontal. I thought it was for historical accuracy, as women today tend to shave more than in the past. 2017. Oscar Wilde was among an estimated 50,000 men who were pardoned for homosexual acts that were no longer considered offenses under the Policing and Crime Act 2017. The act is known informally as the Alan Turing Law. Not that it matters to Mr. Wilde now, but 130 years is a long time to wait to have your name cleared. To which Mr. Wilde probably would have blithely quipped, "Better to have been infamous than not." Not so much as historically as biblical. According to the Bible, right when Jesus is getting arrested by the Romans, a random unnamed naked guy just runs past everyone. He is never mentioned again, and it is unknown why they even put in the Bible. It's Mark 14:51-52 if you want to check it out. He's probably going to be a key character in the second coming. It's one of those Chekhov's guns things. So the commie guy was actually onto something. Saint Lawrence was martyred on a gridiron. His last words were, "I'm well done on this side. Turn me over." He's now the patron saint of cooks and comedians. I'm not making any of this up. Goddamn, that is legendary. Literally. One about Gandhi regularly group bathing, group sleeping / cuddling, and getting strip teases and lap dances from really young women. One of which was his grand, or great grand, I can't recall, niece, to test his exhale restraint, or whatever. Lol. Gandhi was a huge unt. That's why he nooks everybody. In the war for Texas independence against Mexico, after the Battle of the Alamo, there was this Mexican woman who was a spy for Texas. Nicknamed the Yellow Rose of Texas, she went and seduced the Mexican General Santa Anna. And while they were hooking up, the Texans did a surprise attack and slaughtered many Mexicans and won the war. Probably got some facts wrong, lol. WTF. They didn't teach me this in 4th grade Texas history. I was told that he was just sleeping. I was told that he was just sleeping. Yeet. With some whore. De Niro, how can you have a NSFW history thread without naming him? Kicked his wife to death. He met a young boy named Sporus. According to some, Sporus held somewhat of a resemblance to Nero's late, killed, wife, Poppaea. And so Nero had the boy castrated and married him. During the marriage, they appeared in public as a happy couple as Nero paraded his new bride around to Greece and then back to Rome, where he had married another guy named Pythagoras, not the maths guy. Nero called Pythagoras his husband and called Sporus his wife. Sporus was labeled the Empress. A lot of people think that Nero took to Sporus because of the guilt he felt for kicking his wife to death, as he even called Sporus Poppaea, the wife he kicked to death. Needless to say, Nero had issues and is classic in NSFW history. He ran the gamut of MFK with his mom, killed his wife, castrated boys who looked like his dead, murdered wife and kept them around for his pleasure / guilt. Married strong dudes, not that there's anything wrong with that, and ended up killing himself. I'm positive a lot of his history is propaganda, and I recognize how mental illness still goes diagnosed in today's world. Not to mention the ancient world. Also, trying to look through the anti-Nero and revisions to find the truth is supremely challenging, but damn, that hit is ducked. Most likely, he didn't kick her to death. That was a rumor started by the patrician class who despised him. She most likely died from complications of miscarriage. The lower class folks loved him. Most likely. Hard to separate what is truth and what are rumors that became the history with any person, let alone an extreme situation like Nero. Mathematician Kurt Gödel suffered from mental illness and was paranoid he was going to be poisoned. He would only eat food his wife had prepared for him. In 1977, she was hospitalized for 6 months and could no longer prepare his food. In her absence, he refused to eat and eventually starved to death. He only weighed 65 pounds when he died. He couldn't have made himself a goddamn sandwich? You fool. What if he poisoned his food? 18th century Empress of Russia Catherine the Great employed foot ticklers to turn her on. Her furniture had actual peens on it. Carved furniture peens. A lady I can respect. For that if nothing else. Define actual. Roman Emperor Commodus had an harem of 300 women and men, and spent most of his time there. If you had a harem that size, you'd do the same. Trust me, you'd find spot to hide away from the harem after 2 years. Hitler had the hots for his niece Jelly Rorbel, 23 years old, who was found dead in her bedroom after she shot herself in the chest with his own gun. Noting the fact that she lived with him until 1931. There are a lot of controversial aspects to that story, but also a lot of interesting pieces of information. Some historians speculate that they had a bizarre relationship and that probably she was the love of his life. He mourned her death for a week locked in her bedroom, denied food and wanted to kill himself. After that he kept her room as a shrine and kept her memories with him until near his death. So weird when banging your underage niece isn't the worst things you did in life. TBH, I'm starting to think this Hitler guy might not be so great. George Washington, in his youth, was a handsome, strapping young man that all the women and officers' wives wanted to screw. Our founding father was a bit of a poon hound. I heard he had like 30 goddamn peens. Had a pocket full of horses. The ancient city of Alexandria had one of the most famous red light districts, brothels, in the world. Once the prostitutes went on a strike and the economy of the city was at risk. So Cleopatra consulted one of the wise men in the library, and he suggested that they build another district as a competitor. Then they had 2 districts and the prostitutes of the first district had to end their strike. Oh wise man. The wenches aren't working, and we're in financial ruin. Whatever shall we do? Smash his screaming bowl on the floor. More duck-eyeing whores. If only they narrated history like that. Herman Padishah Selim II died by stepping on a soap and falling while chasing girls in his harem. At least his last memory was looking at bodacious bouncing buttocks and bouncy bombastic breasts. Ancient Greece. Prostitutes used to press "follow me" into their sandals so that when they walked it would imprint into the dirt or sand. So when people saw it, they'd know that they could follow the trail and it would end in a prostitute and maybe some ex. There's a sculpture I love called the Slipper Slapper that shows Aphrodite and Pan. And she is, edit, my bad this is not true, holding a sandal with "follow me" on the bottom. Big edit, sorry. I appear to have misunderstood a professor and then didn't follow up before posting. The Slipper Slapper is a beautiful sculpture, but does not have "follow me" studded on the bottom in Greek. My bad for not researching the statue more before posting. Ancient duck me shoes. When the nice shoes wanna duck pickup line actually worked. Laris WWII, a high-ranking Nazi officer, had a brothel/concubine set up. Obviously not consensual. Well, some of the ladies didn't like the situation and didn't like Nazis, so they put a landmine under his mattress. I call it the Belarusian space program. Still safer as a space program than my death-trap machines I make in KSP. Who needs symmetry when you can have even more acceleration? Best comment of the day. In reality, Santa Anna's defeated army comprised only a third of the Mexican forces. Santa Anna had split his army in 3 to look for the Texans. The other generals were Vicente Felicilla and Jose de Urrea. Upon being captured, Santa Anna was supposed to be stripped of any authority. However, Felicilla went to see him at the Texans camp. When the Texans allowed it, Santa Anna ordered Felicilla to retreat and informed him of the terms of his surrender. Dario wanted to take both his and Felicila's armies and destroy the Texans, but Felicila was higher in the command chain and did as ordered. Some say he did it because both him and Santarana were Freemasons. In Mexico, Texas would be considered to be still a part of the Mexican territory for 10 years, and politicians and generals kept focusing on the endless civil wars instead of reclaiming it. They just assumed they'd eventually get to it. It was officially considered lost until the Mexican-American War. Another fact, Santarana was taken all the way up to Washington. Along the way, believe it or not, he was hailed by plenty of people. Why? Because Mexico abolished slavery and the Texans were fighting for their right to keep slavery in part, which probably isn't told often in Texas classroom. Third fact, while in the U.S. Santarana was seen chewing on chicle, the dried sap of a Mexican tree. He introduced him to a man named Thomas, who tried to use it as a substitute for rubber and in other ways, but failed. Finally he just started chewing it and eventually commercialized it, leading to the creating of chewing gum. In Mexico, chewing gum is still called chicle. Either way, he was a pompous ass.